Hey, good day, guys. Nathaniel Evans, host of I'm a Data podcast. Yo, man, it's always a pleasure, to be here, to interact with these platforms, and to meet new people. This is about meeting new people, creating new relationships, and creating new determinants, for our lives. Like, as we going through the path of this life, we're learning new things about ourselves every single day. Um, no day is the same. I hear a lot of people say, I'm like, how you doing? Same day, it's the same thing from yesterday, and I look at it and say that it is impossible for yesterday to actually be today. Right? There's so many different variations of yesterday from today, like even taking into account like the time you wake up. You yesterday you might have woke up at 6:30. Today you might wake up at 6:35. So that's 5 minutes short from the days that you say are all the same. So they're not all the same. And me speaking as men, and I actually created this platform, I'm a Data, because of my own personal experiences as a man and navigating through this platform that we call life. And at the end of the day, finding that healthy component, right, within my heart, within my spirit, that will allow me to continue on with my journeys, even though I may not know all the journeys that's ahead of me. This allows me to continue on, with my journey. So, with that being said, I actually look forward to connecting with different men and different women on these platforms. If you are a leader, if you are a change agent, if you have just come, you know, forth with a certain vision or a certain purpose and you're trying to understand it or map it out, hey, reach out to the show. Let's explore it. Let's see what it is. This is a free one-on-one, training, right? Or evaluation into different things, different processes that we actually go through in this life. So reach out, tap in. We are here to enrich and empower one another. And when we don't do that, it has lifelong effects. And those lifelong effects go from generations to generations to generations. So we have to be really careful and strategic on actually how we start to really build our lives and what is the format of that life building, right? What is that format like? What does it really look like when you're saying that you want to build your life, right? How do you build something from scratch? Right? Um, do you have other models that you was using before that was working and now you want to reapply them again? Or did those models not work for you as you was actually transitioning through this life? Or did the models only work for a couple of months and now next thing you have to find a new structure to actually balance yourself on and to move forward, right? It's all about balancing that. And as we're going through this journey, and the more that we don't know each other, the more mishaps that actually take place in our lives. The more that we don't know ourselves, and the more we don't know others, right? We run ourselves amok, trying to figure all these things out. And a lot of times it's outside of our grasp. We're trying to hold on. We're trying to make it a purpose, right, for our lives. So our lives individually must have a purpose. It must have a purpose. It can be some of the most simplest things in the world, but it has to come with a purpose. And if it doesn't come with a purpose, that means there's no model that you're following or that's even guiding you or even taking you to where you have to go. And when this happens, this is when life starts to change. The fall. We're talking about the fall. When you're not able to see your vision, your focus, your purpose, your goals, right? This is when the fall takes place. Because that means that we have come outside of who we are. And now we're performing in life as visitors, right? Instead of as being the host of life. Right? So we went from being a host of life when we actually had visions, purposes, goals, belief systems, and stuff like that, that actually was driving forces to actually move us through land. This was for, right? Now that we have moved outside of our purpose, our goals, our visions, right? Now we're actually spectators to actually what's taking place in our lives. We're on the outskirts watching as our lives are unfolding and basically unraveling right before our eyes, and we can't do anything about it. Right? This is when we actually get into the fall of what that fall looks like. You start losing certain things that was you held dear to you, and now all of a sudden you can't grasp those things. You can't visit those things, right? If you talk about those things, it become painful to you. You become ashamed of your path and what you did or what you didn't do, and now you at a loss. So the fall is actually keep us right in adherence to who we are. We're all going through falls, right? The different challenges that we actually facing in life, and as we're going through the fall, there is no like celebration. Like, yes, I'm falling. I'm happy that I'm falling. There is no celebration for that. So basically, what it means is that we are going through a transition that a lot of times we don't really appreciate. The fall is a space where we don't really see like who we are, other than the fact of actually going through some type of metamorphosis, right? To actually get us to rebalance and actually rediscover certain elemental tools that we have actually overlooked, forgotten, or even taken for granted, right? This is really essential in a time like this when we're dealing with COVID, we're dealing with economical mishaps, right? We're dealing with political structures, societal structures, right? And all of these things are changing right before our eyes. And as soon as we believe that we have actually take possession of our lives, something else actually takes place to move us into a different basically perspective of what our lives actually consist of, which shows us that we are not always in control of the rises or the falls that actually take place in our lives. And to bring a heart to it, basically, to bring a heart to it is actually to understand that either element that takes place in your own personal life is for your own personal life to actually understand and to actually be able to develop and to achieve different, levels of who you are, right? We're not just basically, one dimensional, right? We come in so many different facets that, it's even hard for us at times to even understand who we are, right? And taking in perspectives of our own personal lives will generate new life for us, new focus, new values, new systems that we can actually use, even new pathways that we can explore that we really never thought about before. The fall in this time is something that's not supposed to be permanent. It's supposed to be something that's supposed to be transitional. Um, Watching the news and you see, the men are actually committing suicide, women are committing suicide, and you want to be careful of that type of fall because that type of fall is extremely detrimental to your development, to you actually overcoming that fall and learn a lesson that you need to learn from that fall, right? And as you're going through your process, right, you're going to be singing certain things or doing certain things that's unknown to you, but it's only there to actually help you come to a certain design and a certain forefront about your own personal life, right? We can follow purposes, we can follow, groups, agendas, but at the end of the day, we have to be connected to those things that we seek to follow, those things that we seek to understand. We have to have some type of connection to those things, and when we don't have those type of connections, we start missing, key elements that have to come together to form, what I'm saying, to get us to where we need to be going. Just think about this for 1 second. Our second is up. And, the fall of who you are is the grace of who you are as well, as you're going through the different levels of gratitude that took place in your life as you was rising. And you really don't see those different levels of gratitude, because a lot of times it's basically like it's overlooked, or it's actually taken for granted. But as we're rising, you gotta remember it's step by step by step by step by step by step. And as we're falling in the same mannerisms, right? So we have to be careful or understanding, like, what does that mean to me? Does the fall, what does the fall mean to me? Does the fall means that my life is over and I actually can't get back on track? Does the fall means that, who you used to be, you will never be again? And the person that you are now, you're not a friend to that person. You don't cherish, you don't value that person because you don't know that person, right? And the reason why you don't know that person because you took a fall from another person, and now you're at this other level, and you're trying to recognize what this level may be, right? And how can you make it essential for you to be able to move forward. Right? Look at this. So your fall has so many different variations to it, and so many different analogies that you can use. Some analogies you can use can actually be optimistic, and some actually can be pessimistic. It actually depends on the person and on what values that you actually have for your life before you took a fall, right? What is these values? What is the substance of what makes you who you are, and what keeps you motivated and keep you channeled to do the things that you need to do? If you got to write a paper, if you got to read a book, if you got to attend a conference, if you got different things that you got to do, like, what are those motivating factors, right? That's your motor, right? What is that? What is it doing? How's it getting you there, right? Are you able to think at night because it's just bombarding you and you're saying, yo, I got to get this thing done, right? Or is it you saying, it's not really that important? Like, I can get to this at another time. Let me develop myself at a different time instead of develop myself now, because the time that I have now is not for developmental purposes, right? And to actually go past this concept is actually understanding that we're always in the process of developing. We're always in a process of coming anew and doing great things. We link our lives to so many different receptors. And a lot of times, those receptors are not responsive to who we are, right? They're not encouraging, right? They're not motivators, and they don't come back to fix what they actually have taken in order for it to grow. So linking yourself to certain different, you know, receptors in the world can actually cause you to start experiencing falls within your life because you have actually changed the framework on which you was operating on. Right. So now listening to your fall is actually listening to your fall. It's not watching it, you can pay attention, but listen to it. What's happening? When you falling is, are you being saved by branches, right? Did you fall into a pile, of bed roses, right? Did you fall strictly on concrete? Like, what type of fall was this for? And that type of understanding will actually give you the methods that you need to actually come outside of this fall. So, gathering yourself, gathering your thoughts, being truthful and honest with yourself, right, is one of the perspectives that we would need to actually come out of these different transitions that's actually taking place in our lives. And there's so many reasons why things take place. We don't know all of them. We can't figure out all these different things that's taking place in our lives. But we can sit back, pay attention, in order to enjoy a ride that we can use for our lives. This topic is really, important to me because I experienced so many falls in my life, and I continue to get back up and to continue to try to understand my falls, understand my rises, and understand how to actually safeguard my existence in this world, right? To ensure that when I look at me, that I see me and that I'm grateful for me and that I want to, increase who I am. I want to know more about me, less about the world, in order for me to be able to be me with inside of the world instead of me being a carbon copy of the world and what the world actually wants me to be, how it wants me to think, behave, speak, and so forth and so forth. And now I'm at a threshold where I'm saying that my life is essential. My life is extremely important. I want to be able to build monumental structures for my life, politically, socially, economically, right? To keep myself, you know what I'm saying, enriched in the world. I don't want to lose focus on what life consists of and why I'm not able to live life on a level that I actually want to live life on. I find myself in many different spaces and places and doing many various things only because I do identify that they were a part of my essential self before I actually took my fall. So now I tap back into different proxies that I was aware of before to actually give me more strength and more insight into me be able to move forward in this land, right? To be able to wake up, high octane, right? To see life on a higher purpose, you know, to see that the sun rise and didn't even come out yet, right? That type of life, that type of belief for yourself is what actually gets us to be able to move forward in this life. This is I'm a data, podcast, and I'm on many different platforms. I want y'all to subscribe, my Google Podcast, Amazon, YouTube. Reach out to me, allow me to continue to do this work, to reach out to people, to give out these messages, and for us to actually be able to have a conversation, right? How do we begin to have conversations about our fault, right? What would that conversation look like? And a lot of times we don't want to have the conversation because it makes us feel less than. It shows that we are less than. And it actually predicts that we are not gods that we say that we are, you know. And that's just too much energy. That's just too much pressure on who we are. We are always learning, always seeking to evolve. And some men are in a better space of peace than others at particular times in life. So, we transition from one year to the next, 1 month, 1 day, and we can always be in a space of change. So, as we find ourselves in these different spaces, we have to learn what is that element that's supposed to be taught to us. What is the message that we need to learn while we're going through these different changes, right? And we have to make sure that we know that we actually are worthy of actually going through the changes of our own personal lives. All right. The quick fix, right? Instant gratifications, right? About who we are, where we are, and where we're going doesn't improve us. We don't need instant gratification. We don't need to not know who we are to portray ourselves to be something that we're not. It's something that we don't need. In the midst of our fall, we're learning that we're infallible, right? We're learning that things are not always the way that we want them to be, right? We're learning that there's more to this life than what we are actually acquired, what we accumulated in this world. And we go through so many different um, obstacles to find out who we are, that when we lose who we are, it's more detrimental to not actually knowing who we were. So learning about what those gifts are that actually makes you tick as an individual, learn about what is the full means to you and how can you actually come outside of this fall, right, is going to be one of the greatest constitutions of your whole life. You want to write a book? Yeah, write a book. That's you. You are the book. You have the book. You have all the insights of the book, right? You know how to apply it. You know when to apply it, where to apply it. You just have to do it, right? You want to do poetry. You want to learn this method. You want to learn that thing. During our fall, we're able to actually create new models for our lives, and dust off the old ones that are no longer serving us a purpose. And as we're going through this, we become more enlightened about who we are, because we're starting to see actually who we are really for the first time all over again. The fall is not the enemy that the society has created to be. It is your friend. It gives you insight into who you are, to what you are, what you have been doing, what you have not been doing, and in what direction you may be going if you don't not start bringing about certain changes in your own life, right? So the fall is you in real time happening to you, for you to understand about you, only for the message of you. It has nothing to do with anybody else. We got all these outside entities that are actually influencing who we are from inside, and then we don't get to who we are inside, and then we blame all the outside entities for not investing in who we are, when we don't even know who we are because we didn't invest in who we are. We cannot tell the world who we are, or we do not know, right? So it's actually understanding about the fall of us is only about us, to understand who we are and to move forward into new ways, into new terrains, right? Smell new flowers, you know, walk on new grass, you know, experience a new life, sing a song. You don't know how to sing, but sing a song and record it, right? Do different things, right? Do some voiceovers or something like that. Something that's going to challenge you, motivate you, inspire you, right? Get you to jump out of that seat. I'm saying, that you've been warming up for no reason, right? This life here is about us finding a balance and coming to that balance and coming to that understanding through the midst of our rise and our falls. Things are not always what they seem to be. A rise may be a detriment to many people, which I've seen in the society. People have risen to certain levels, and other people come, particularly families or friends, that come to uproot them, right? And next thing you know, they're no more. They're no more in the land. The falls also is that carbon copy of who we are, or who we became, or who we are supposed to be. It has definitive concepts that's associated to it. It has a language, I'm saying, that's associated to it, to ensure that you will actually understand what that particular language is for you individually, so you can explode into the world, like really change how you are, who you are, what you want to be, what you want to become. That's the fall. It is a testament that you're not doing what you are supposed to be doing. You're not thinking the way you're supposed to be thinking. You're not going in the direction that you're supposed to be going. So the fall comes because it is your friend. It's to keep you on track, to ensure that you understand what is happening. So when things transpire in your life, you can't say, I didn't know what was going on. It's about accountability and responsibility. The fall is your accountability for your own life. You are responsible for actually putting these things back together. If you're creating habits that are detrimental to your life, the fall is going to tell you, remove those habits. If you brought things into your world that wasn't supposed to be in your world, the fall is going to tell you, please get rid of that, man. We got things to do. We got work to do, right? We got places to go. We got things to model and craft, right? So the fall is going to tell you when you moving off that wavelength to get yourself back in tune. This life is about us moving forward, about elevating, right? And finding new heights and new creations for our lives. This is what this is about. So as we fall, look at it, pay attention to it, and see what's the message behind it. What's there? It didn't come for no reason. People didn't curse you for no reason or turn their back on you for no reason, right? You didn't lose opportunities for no reason, right? You didn't not apply yourself for no reason. All these things has a testimonial structure to it that is only for you when you open up your book and start reading and say, oh, okay, this is my testimony, And this is what's happening here, right? And this is how I'm able to apply these things because I am purposeful about my life. I love my life, and I want my life to reach high and new plateaus. This is what the fall is about: recovering, renewal of spirit, renewal of mind, renewal of purpose, right? This is what the fall is about. Finding that newness in you, that richness that actually moves you forward. It makes you the greatest thing in the world. Like, actually, like, there's really nothing greater than you, right? Because you are the greatest thing in the world, right? And tapping into the fall is your rise. That's it. Tapping into your fall presents your rise for you. It gives you a clear indication of who you are, what you are, and also what you will become. We go through so many examples in this world, and they all priceless. They all have meanings to them, right? But our greatest example in this world is actually us. There's no greater meaning to life than to us. We are the meaning for life. We have meanings for life, and we can create multiple meanings in this life, right? And hopefully, the things that we create are productive and motivational for the lives of others. Understand our fall and recognizing it, even if we're trapped, even if we're in the spaces where people have 100 years of life and things of that nature in prison for committing crimes in the land, and even that fall, also has a space for redemption. you know, Removing that man that actually brought you to that space and coming to a new man, a new spiritual man, and actually even create a new life for you, even inside those walls, and you can actually find freedom to actually channel yourself to a different level, right? Every thought that we have is for our redemption, whether it may be physical, spiritual, economical, political, whatever you may want to call it. It's all about us redeeming ourselves and coming to this new level of a new person, right? That we'll be proud of when we wake up in the morning, when we stroll through the streets, right? When we do the things that we're doing in life, we actually pat ourselves on the back, say, yo, Nathaniel, did a great job, Nathaniel. Talk that talk, Nathaniel, right? Things of that nature, right? To motivate you, to change you up, and to actually let you understand that you got to open up the third eye, right? And you got to start looking at all the different processes that's actually taking place in your life, and what do those things mean to you. That's what it comes down to. The life of you. You're the life of the party. There's no greater life of the party than actually who you are as an individual. So, this is my short segment. It's only been half an hour. My co-host, she has some other things to take care of today. And on these platforms, I actually like to reach out to many other people. People reach out to me. Come on the show. Let's have a conversation. You got books. You got different things you created. Bring them. Let's talk about it. Let's explore who you are. Let's promote who you are to the world, right? And let's get you out of the fall, right? We don't want to be in the fall unless it's the season, right? So we want to change. We want to elevate. We want to get to new plateaus, right? And we want to be happy and ecstatic about who we are at all times, right? Don't want to lose who we are. So we have to fight for who we are. And one of the key elements for fighting who we are is actually recognizing the falls of who we are and what are the messages that are associated to each and every fall that take place in our lives. What is that message? What is it trying to tell you? And if you apply it, do you believe that it would change your life? If you look into the messages of your life, if you apply them, if you look at them without biasness and without judgment, would it be able to help you curb your disastrous fall? If you believe that your fall is something to help you move forward, will it be able to help you move forward by breaking it apart and analyzing every component of it? Today, this is Nathaniel Evans, host of I'm the Data podcast, speaking about leadership, visions, and changing our lives. Subscribe to my channel, wishing everybody the best. Peace and blessings to everyone. Be well.